friends, welcome back. So I am going to read you another Leprechaun story. It's a story that kind of teaches you about kindness and thinking of others and not always being me, 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 me. It's a very good story and I hope you enjoy it. It does have a leprechaun and there is some gold involved. So here we go on our next adventure. This story is called The Leprechaun's Gold. Do you know what this is called right here that he is holding? This is called a harp. It has strings that you pluck. If you remember, a friend in our class played a musical instrument recently called the violin, and she drew the bow across the strings to make the music. Well, with a harp, you pluck the strings with your finger. So let's see what happens in the Leprechaun's Gold. Long ago, we know it's fiction. Before even your great-great-grandfather was born, there lived in a small village in Ireland a man known as Old Pat. Old Pat was a harpist, and a good one at that. Many a wedding was made the merrier by Old Pat's harp. Merrier means happier or more fun. So there is Old Pat playing his harp at someone's wedding. Looks like everyone's having a lot of fun. In the same village dwelled young Tom. Tom had learned his own harp playing from Pat's teaching. But now Tom thought himself a better harpist than Old Pat. He was much given to boasting and bragging and charging the villagers great amounts of silver or money for his skills. Old Pat was humble and willing to play his music for free for those he knew did not have money to pay for it. "Foolish old man," scoffed young Tom. "What use is a gift if not to make you rich?" Old Pat replied, "I am rich in friends, and that is enough." We are fortunate enough to be rich in friends as well. Do you think Tom is a very nice person? It is to be supposed that life would have continued along its way for Old Pat and young Tom had they not seen this announcement. "By order of the king, harping contest to choose the finest harpist in Ireland at the royal palace. All may enter." So look at Tom. Look at Tom. Here's Tom. Not very nice. Here's Old Pat. It says anyone can do it. "To be known as the best harpist in Ireland would be an honor indeed," said Old Pat. "Don't waste your time, old man," sneered Tom. "It's a young man like myself they'll be wanting." But Pat shook his head, gathered his few meager possessions for his journey, which means they're not really super nice, but it's what he wanted to take. "Aha," thought young Tom, "if we travel together, he's sure to offer me a bite of his food." He knew Old Pat was generous. That would save me a penny or two. So look, here he is. Here is Old Pat gathering his stuff. Young Tom is thinking, I don't have to buy food if I travel with Old Pat because he is going to share. Because he has a good heart. And young Tom is taking advantage. And so it was on this night that the two sat together by their fire of twigs. They were footsore and weary from walking the many miles towards the royal palace. As he listened to Pat practice for the contest, a sudden flash through young Tom's mind came. I could lose to this ridiculous old man. So, as Old Pat turned his head for a second, the wicked boy quickly snapped a string on Pat's harp and pushed his own extra string deep into his bag. "I'm sorry for your trouble," he said to Old Pat, "but I have no string to lend you, for I might need it for myself." Old Pat sighed. He had no money to buy new string. The harping contest was as good as lost. If you do not have all the string on your harp, you can cannot play all the notes for the song that you would like to play. Old Pat is in a little bit of trouble. Young Tom is not so nice. Then, suddenly, through the darkness came a cry, "Help!" The two men shivered. They knew tales of tricks played on poor travelers by villainous leprechauns. "Surely 'tis the little people that's after us," whispered young Tom. But as the voice rose to a wail, old Pat's kindness of heart proved stronger than his fear of leprechaun tricks. "We must find out who is in trouble," he cried to Tom. "Not I," declared young Tom. "I'll have nothing to do with it. I'll not take the risk of missing the contest." He turned his back to the voice and covered his ears. Now, if you were in trouble, would you rather have old Pat with you or young Tom? Who do you think is the hero right now? On shaking legs, old Pat walked toward the sound of the voice. In a clearing, he saw a tiny man with his foot stuck down in a rabbit hole. "Help me, sir," cried the little man. "I took off my shoes to rest my feet, and a rabbit has taken hold of my big toe. Help me!" From deep in the burrow came the shrill laugh of a rabbit. "Let go, you rogue," the little man yelled down the hole. "I'll have you for dinner, you pesky bag of flea-ridden fur." Oh dear. Instead of the leprechaun playing a trick, who's playing the trick instead? Now why would he stick his foot down the rabbit hole? Do you think he'll do it again? "I'll soon fix that scoundrel," thought old Pat. He bent down and barked piercingly as a fox might in the night. Now why would old Pat make a fox sound? What might a fox eat if he was really hungry? The rabbit let out a scream of fright, and out popped the little man's toe. "Thank you," cried the leprechaun, for a leprechaun he was. "Come," said Pat, trying not to laugh, for a funnier sight he never thought he'd see. "I've not much to offer, but what I have, you're welcome to share." Even though he's been sharing with Tom, old Pat is willing to share with the leprechaun as well. When they return to the fire, do you think young Tom will still be there? Or did he run off? Old Pat led the leprechaun back to the fire. "I see your fellow traveler has up and gone," said the leprechaun. "A brave fellow indeed he proved to be, but I thank you kindly for your help. I'd like to repay you." "I'll be needing no payment," answered old Pat. He picked up his harp and began playing a soft tune to soothe the little man. So there they are. So did Tom hang around? "You play well," said the leprechaun, "but I'm a-thinking your harp is not in a good way. Remember, what did Tom do to the string?" "I have a broken string," answered old Pat sadly. "I'm on my way to the harping contest at the royal palace for the king, but I will not win now. I have no money to buy new string." "Ah," declared the leprechaun sharply, "so it's the gold you'll be wanting." "Oh, no, indeed," cried old Pat, mightily alarmed. He knew terrible things happened to those who searched for crocks of leprechaun gold. Crock is another word for pot. "Ah, but yes, I think so," answered the leprechaun firmly. "Is Pat doing this for gold?" I don't think so. I think he's doing it to be nice. Suddenly, old Pat's eyes would not stop from closing. With a sigh, he fell asleep. The leprechaun blew a silvery note on his whistle. Out of the forest came a group of little men, each carrying a bag. "He wants the gold," said the leprechaun as he told the tale of old Pat. "You know what to do." The little men nodded solemnly as they clicked open their bags. Oh dear, is this a leprechaun trick on old Pat? What are they getting ready to do? Think it in your brain. If you're close to someone, tell them what you think. And why do you think that? Are they up to no good, or are they going to be helpful? When old Pat awakened the next morning, he looked around in fright, but the leprechaun was gone. "It's a lucky escape I had," cried old Pat as he picked up his harp case and set off for the royal palace. Here he is. Oh, look how green Ireland is. Off to the palace he goes. Even though old Pat knows that he can't win, he still wants to go, because he's good at heart and he wants to cheer on others. As old Pat reached the courtyard, young Tom took the stage. Looking mighty pleased and confident, he began to play a sweet tune, but as if bewitched, the strings on his harp began to break. Pink, pink, pink. One by one, they twanged and twitched and twirled in the air until they were all just dangling. Can you play anything if you have no strings? Young Tom gazed at his harp in horror, but then he knew. "Leprechauns," he muttered as he hung his head and shuffled from the stage. So look, here he was as he began to play for the king, and then this is what has happened. Sometimes when you're not nice, bad things don't happen right away, but they do often catch up with you. Now it was old Pat's turn. With sadness in his heart, the old man reached for his harp in his case. But then his eyes widened. For there, inside his bag, lay a glittering golden harp. "The leprechaun's gold!" gasped old Pat. He lifted the golden harp and began to play. He played the merriest music anyone had ever heard, so wonderful that the wind itself stopped to listen. A wild tune it was, which filled the people's heart with joy and their lips with laughter. Look at that golden harp. Did the leprechauns play a trick on old Pat? Or was it because old Pat was kind that they made him this wonderful present? Do you think Pat will win the contest? I don't think Tom will. As the music seized their feet, the people began to dance. Soon, the courtyard was filled with dancing, singing, and laughing crowds. The other harpists knew that this was Pat's day and danced along with the other people. Even young Tom, who had learned a hard lesson, found generosity growing in his heart. Look, Tom is here. Right there in the picture. When the final note faded away, the king rose from his throne and beckoned to Pat. "Come here." "Old man," said the king, "the prize is yours. Never have I heard such music. For now you will play always for me and my people. You are awarded the title Royal Harpist in Ireland." Pat won. It's pretty amazing. I feel like Pat earned that, don't you? From the nearby forest came the tinkling sound of a little leprechaun laughing. Now, if we were at school, it says that there are 16 four-leaf clovers in this book. Can you find them all? Maybe you could go back in the video and try to find them if you want. Or when we do get back to school, we can pull this book off the shelf and you can look for them yourself. But that is the tale of the leprechaun's gold. Now, which character did you feel was the better person? Would you want to be friends with old Pat or young Tom? Go find someone and tell them what the problem was in the story, who your favorite character was, and why. I hope you enjoyed this story, and I look forward to reading many more stories with you over the next coming days. So thank you so much for watching, and I will be reading or seeing you soon. All right, have a great afternoon. Bye, friends.